Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wild Rift Origin Series, and we are jumping into Group A. It is going to be looking for Org versus, what was QLS? Of course, it's Queto, Spain, isn't it?
Clash.
Clash, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so Clash, Spain. They're both Spanish, to be fair. So hence the confusion. But 2+4, Tyrius, Vejos, Capiat, Hegman for looking for Org, and Ayman Legend, Fowlan, Nomo, Hanura, and the Noob.
Okay.
Speaking of which, here's Max.
That is me. I am Max. Wow, we get. Oh man, we had a great series last game though. We were checking it out, and I gotta say, Mad's going absolutely insane on that game. So I just want to do a big heads up. That was absolutely great from Sunlight. Can't wait to see what they can do in the rest of Group C. But now we're into Group A, and I think that Group A very clearly here, D-Man has some of the bigger names when it comes to the EMEA region for Wild Rift competitive in general. You got the big teams, you got the Team Kessos, you got your tribes, you got your singularities, and all that. So now these are the teams that we have very high expectations for, especially Clash and some of the names of LFO actually. That I'm sure that if any of you guys out there followed a little bit mobile MOBA esports recently, you got some really big names, especially Hegman and Tyros that I have not seen in a while, and I cannot wait to see what they can do in the Wild Rift esports scene. Yeah, their path here, just before we get into the bans, is they took down Arctic 7 in the first upper bracket, 2-1. Then they lost the Game Lord 2-0 in the second game was pretty convincing, let's face it. For Clash Spain, they lost 2-1 Singularity, so not too surprising. Tough team to face in the first round, and they beat eSuper 2-0, and that's why they find themselves here in the round of 8 in the lower bracket. As you can see, the bans coming in already. Olaf Seraphim taken out, along with the Ziggs and a Camille. Yep, Lucian 2 going to be taken off the board by Clash. Not too surprised, not going to lie, for a relatively new champion added to the roster of champs from Wild Rift. He's been making a really big name for himself. I'm really enjoying it. Haven't seen Senna just yet. This might be the one. I still think Senna, even though a little bit harder to play, has some really good results to show if it is played really well. And though Renekton's going to be the very first pickup that Clash are going to commit their way to, I find that to be okay. You're not sure too much of what your playstyle and your overall comp is going to be. Renekton can peel very easily, go for the big dive if needed, so you can easily build something around him without too many issues, really.
Yeah, just looking at the match, I can see the screen they have from Game Lord, and pretty much targeted bans on what they played in the previous games. In fairness, those coming out from Clash Spain. So doing a little bit of prep there, but it does mean the Fiora and the Wukong, which was banned out, by the way, in the first 2 games that we covered out there. But the Lee Sin coming in and the Twisted Faith, I'm really liking this. We're getting some good variation.
Since Wild Rift has came out, Lee Sin has very clearly been one of, if not the best jungler for the longest duration, completely uncontested. They've nerfed the Moo for I have no idea why, and they'd leave Lee Sin do Lee Sin things. I don't know what's happening, but he's still completely insane. Though one thing that's going to be a little bit hard for this Lee Sin is that you got some very mobile champions on the opposing side here, and it can be a little bit hard to really pin them down, get that Dragon's Rage on board to really put your team in a good situation overall. So I like this Lee Sin pickup. I think you can't go wrong with a Lee Sin. It might take a little bit more time to set it up properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Corki comes in, and there's the Rakan Zaya. So the combo, I like that combo. It's a very strong one. And we just saw this a moment ago, yes. Max. Means we didn't get the first one, but we're happy. We're happy, Leona.
I'm very happy. I'm happy way more than you are. I don't know why I'm flexing on that. I don't know why. I love Leona. I think there was, of course, a few issues. It did not go as planned last series when we did see the Leona get played. She's a little bit more tanky. But it does not mean you want to get into the thick of it too quickly. You are still going to get mowed down relatively quickly, so you've got to be a little bit careful. But when you have Leona on your team, what you want to do, go for that big ultimate, go for the Zenith Blade, hit CC after CC onto a single target, then things could be working out just fine.
Well, let's get the game ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. It's Group A. It's the European scene. Let's see what they bring to the table.
We're going to see indeed. Man, before this game, he told me, hey, you got to be quick at the game. There you go, because I know. It's typical. It's typical in any esports. Caster, stop talk, start game. We start game. Okay, we're into it. We're on the Wild Rift once again, as we're going to be ready for our third and final series of the day to kick off this first day of the Origin series for the month of July. Clash versus Looking for Org. And I said it, Looking for Org, a lot of big names, especially Veos, right? He's been into the scene for the longest time. Switch side, switch Org now. And he's with the boys of Tyras and also Hegman, but Hegman has been known as a great Alistar one-trick. So I'm really intrigued to see what his take is going to be on this champion of Leona.
Absolutely. We'll see how it works out. Gets the leash there as Emperor Duck for this jungler, and I want to see how aggressive these junglers are going to be. I'm already seeing the Leon. Look at this. The two supports having to just cover out there. So early ward coverage, just checking the jungle path in. And I think we're going to see Lee Sin possibly trying to get onto Eggman here. No, Eggman's not going to fall for that. Just takes the safe path back. Yeah, and we'll be safe in lane.
I'm not going to lie. If we're talking about expectations coming into this event and which teams I think could be upsetting and surprising the top, I think the Looking for All very clearly is one of those teams. They got so many big names. I haven't seen them play yet in competitive, which they still that X factor in my mind as to how well can they perform into a competitive environment. We'll see. Grand Engine's going to be avoided away. Nice Valkyrie away actually from Capalog, but it's going to be Fallen trying to join up. Unfortunately, hits the minions, so can't quite dash on top of both Hegman or Capalog, so nothing will really come out of it. But I said, this could be the big surprise team, so got to keep tabs on them because they could be at the very end of this event.
Just trying to get a little bit of lane tax there when they are actually going to peel. There's a big fight brewing here into the middle of the river. You can see they're going to go in. Fallen goes in. That's a great knock-up coming out from the noob there, trying to catch on towards them, but it doesn't get the kill that he's looking for. Nomo's kind of split target, doesn't know really wants to go. And Veos will get away from that, and Hegman with absolutely nothing gets himself the honey fruit down, but an early engage, nothing really coming from it though in terms of kills.
Lucky lads of LFO. They're able to just barely make it out of the grasp of Clash, and they will be able to go back to base, give themselves some extra items, but that's going to be offering the scuttle control, at least the bottom scuttle control over to Clash. Though nice golden start onto Veos, going to use the body slam to move away into the Grand Entrance. Nice flash forward actually from the noob, and that's going to be the first blood over to Clash as they initiate this one off properly. Try to go for the double scuttle control, but seem like they want to get the kill to Aman Legend, and he's trying to push away from his tower, but gets the shot in time, and also does the ignite. Ulin could maybe get a sneaky kill here.
Yeah, absolutely baited him in there, trying to get the knockup, but he may just turn it straight around, and he does.
Fake monkey.
Not get it. Gets just the fake monkey. But going back to the Gragas in the mid, like the Veos, I felt just got a little. Are we going to see it here? Yeah, we are. I think just way too confident. He knew there was a lot of players still around the area. He knew they were still in and around the middle river. Obviously, getting that scuttle control. So just pushed way out of lane too much when knowing that the threat was still there.
I think it's a little bit hard, especially to be like in your mindset, oh, we're 2 minutes in the game. Yeah, we're going to get 3-man ganked. It doesn't happen an insane amount of times, but it goes to show how proactive Clash are actually seeming to be. They are trying to create a lead, especially with a scaling composition like this, when you do have yourself a Xayah and also a Renekton. They are two champions that can very easily just be out of grasp super quickly if you do allow them to actually get a significant lead, if in terms of kills, gold, objectives coming their way. It is scary, and I think that Clash understand what their win condition is to try and get an early lead and build something on top of that. So they need a strong base, and the strong base, you build it minute 1 into the game of Wild Rift. So that's, at least in my eyes, what they're going to try and attempt to achieve in this game.
The pick potential also very much there. Iron Legend trying to bait this one out again on Enter Duck. Can he get the stun down on
Oh, no!
Tower? No, he's going to get the fruit as well. And Iron Legend's just taking too much damage in the end there. Will back away, but does have that big tanky buff. But again, Fowlan coming in, not able to connect with the kick.
Yeah. Normally we were joking about this during rehearsals for the show, saying, oh, the honey fruit OP. It kind of good, though. It did kind of help out Emperor Luck, not gonna lie. He tried to take the grand challenge onto the ultimate, take a one-on-one, but that's the thing that you like so much, is that you can very easily roam around the map with the composition of Clash, and also have that big map presence of Nuzlocke Nomo with that ultimate.
Oh, the fight before they get here. That's going to be too slow. Yeah, they've gone for the early engage here, and the rest of the team now finally arriving. Here comes the Fiora, so has just gone back to buy. Should be able to get the noob down on the left-hand side there. Meanwhile, Veo's going in. That's a big barrel coming down. Not going to be able to get away from this one. Should be able to get a double. They can certainly push the tower if they can juggle the aggro right. They catch it with the barrel, and in the end, it works out well for Looking for Orc. Now, that was a scattered fight. We were checking in the replay. They were all back to base buy-in, so they were coming in one by one, and Fowlan trying to just get in. He's going to get caught out. He just wanted to get in and try and smite.
Yeah, maybe not worth it there. Again, losing full lane, you got to be careful while you're playing that one. Now there's going to be a big lead being created. 5 minutes in, 4 kills over into LFO and 2 kills over to Clash. Indeed, we're going to have the replay you were asking for. The double-man Grand Entrance was huge into the quickness. He's getting some extra CC. But then you have that huge explosive cast trying to move all of the players of Clash away from each another. It's making it really hard, and because of that, the noob just can't reposition. And there's it. Veos onto the front line. Blade Cooler could have been huge, but unfortunately, it seemed like the cooldown was just not there this time.
And Capalot was just untouched the entire time. Perfect positioning. You know, he was on the outside. He was up in around the blue buffer area. Got himself the free coverage. Got himself the spray down. quick little delivery of the package, zooms across, keeps himself completely clean. So really well played by him. It is going to be the bottom turret traded for the middle turret, it seems here. They're going to dive onto Nomo. Nomo should go down here. Yeah, juggled nicely. Capalot will be pretty low coming out of this one, but will be safe unless the nuke decides to jump on this, which I'd be surprised. I say a surprise. He's going to get the health here, yeah.
Yeah, got to be careful. Hegman's going to be the tower dive mastermind, able to use the package.
Oh, the
package moves away, but nice CC actually. Got to be careful. Quickness, connects onto Tyro's going to be able to move away. The Flank Monkey's going to be actually able to serve as bait. But all the health bars of all the players so far of LFO is just going so low. Looking for Org, really struggling. The struggle bus is going wild. But they overstep their welcome, and the assist bomb behind. What a turnaround, actually, from looking for Org. But it's still extremely low, and A-Man Legend wants to fully commit his way into this fight.
Oh, he sees
He's
the
go for the tower dive.
He sees them all. He sees them all so low. And he's just thinking, I want it. He's got the ward there. He's got the ward there. Might be able to pick them off one by one. They try and go for the lockup, and he can just get the slice. Can he manage to get the health steal back? Oh, no, they're on absolutely nothing. Nomo now coming in. He fancies it, but they all get away with nothing. Max, what a different game we have here than we just saw in Group B.
Okay, looking forward. You just got away with murder. That is not okay. That is illegal. They were just all solo. One more attack or anything, you would have just blown on them a little bit, and they were done. So that was definitely a close fight for sure, but not too much really came out of it in the grand scheme. And now the Herald is going to be up for the taking. All of the players went back to base, reset, got the items, ready for another big 5-on-5 skirmish. And what we've seen so far, it does seem like there is a little bit of a lead created in favor of looking for Orb, but not all the ultimates available, especially the Wukong is currently missing in the grand scheme of this game.
Yeah, and the noob looking for a big knock-up here as well, looking to see what he can get, make it work, but don't forget about that Wukong. He can spin to win, catch him straight on there. There's the big Leona, the Sunfall comes straight in, doesn't manage to catch him very low, but the kick saves him, and almost the blue ball took down Nomo there as well as he walked past, but they all back away. Nobody dies. Rift Arrow goes to LFO.
I don't care, man. Nomo, you got to buy a drink over to Fallen for that one. He deserves it, but it seemed like Fallen will go down at the very end of that fight. And with the Herald, they're just taking everything. They're not just taking a game. They are running away with the game currently, D-Man. And Zenith Blade connects. They're going to be forcing away the Featherstorm away. What a great explosive cast. But everyone on just a silver platter to pick up, as Clash will be able to just keep themselves 3 players alive. Renekton trying to split push, but you're losing 2,000 mid for 1 Herald. That is clearly not worth it. And Hegman is going for dive after dive after dive. This is Clash just getting literally cyberbullied in this game.
They will finally take down, and that's a tier 2 turret falling as well. So great push for the Rift Herald. Yes, they lost 3 people, but they'll take it quite happily there. And it's working out well, but this is a very aggressive game. We can tell we're back into Group A here, all looking for blood. 7 kills to 11 already. Dragon coming up in 20 seconds.
Okay, we'll have to go back onto this fight. I love this start of the fight. It was really clean. They were not getting too overzealous, but then Clash is just getting destroyed by those explosive casts, and it's really hard to deal with a good and well-played Gragas. Clash, understandably so, saw the health bar being so low, but you got to be careful you engage it. They're peeling the amount of CC that's available from the composition of LFO is so hard to deal with. You got to be careful. And Clash definitely overstepped their welcome, and it even cost the life of A-Man Legend at the end of that fight. So that's the moment where they should have been like, okay, we've got a kill, let's move out, but they overcommitted, and it cost them a lot more than what they initially predicted.
Yeah, and for LFO, you know, they're engaged, the solar flare coming down. Okay, that doesn't really connect as much as it wants, but they always have the disengage, of course, with the barrel if they want to go for it. But the Zenith Blade can certainly lock someone up. He goes for foul, and there goes the barrel coming through. They try and lock him towards it. A-Man Legend's just on the side. He's trying to tank up as much as he can, but the damage has been done there. And finally, they get onto the AD carry, and this could turn in blue team's favor. Clash looking to move in, and finally they get the carry down.
What's the game plan? Go for Draco, you go for the extra kills. Seem like the 2 players, Product and also Fails, not going to be looking to take that fight. They're going to let it go. I think that's fine. They got the Infernal Drake earlier. Let's not test your luck just yet. Let's keep that for a later stage. Back onto the fight. We'll see. And I'm loving how Hangman is just getting these huge Zenith plays every time, but it does really seem in my mind, D-Man, that when you're looking at Clash, they're focusing down multiple targets at the same time. If they would focus the same target at the same time, that fight would last way shorter, and they would have got potentially 5 kills instantly. So it seemed like Clash need to refocus onto which champions they want to take down in priority, and then play off the back of that. Then his Blade's going to be able to get some damage. Solar Flare not going to be doing too much, as they're now trying to escape from the fight.
He's got the Cyclone to disengage, does manage to flash away as well, so will be safe in the end. But going back to that fight, that's the first time that Capalot has actually been focused. Nomo finally landing that gold card, getting on that AD carry, and that removed so much damage. so much damage from LFO because the last 2 fights they've had, he's just been free to roam. So good adjustments from Clash Spain here. Managed to sort it out. We'll see how it affects them. I'm in Legend at the moment. He's realized that they're not focusing him. They're not really looking at him. He's that big tanky Renekton in front, and they're ignoring him. So he needs to be more relevant now.
Some things to also keep in mind is the Clash has had a roster change. Only in one player. They had Savik beforehand, who was in mid lane, and he got changed by Gnomo, aka Gnomo for short. And it does seem like that there's a little bit of synergy that is lacking, and I think that could be off the back of that big roster change that is not easy to deal with. You know, a month after one player changed out, it can cause a lot of distress in your team, and it can change a lot of small parts and pieces to actually be moved around to make it work again. So it seemed like Clash are still adjusting, it does feel, and that's why I'm at least noticing in this game. But we're also in the loser bracket, right, in the lower side. So whichever team loses this series is already out of the event. So the stakes are extremely high, which shows why these two teams are taking it so seriously right now.
Absolutely. You can see the 1,000 gold difference between the two top laners or Baron laners, the Fiora and the Renekton. So big advantage at the moment for Ember. And remember how passive he had to be in lane because he had that Lee Sin sort of focusing up there for a short period of time. So great job for him. Obviously 3-1-3 looking great at the moment, and certainly a massive threat to the carries. Nomo and Hannah, I can't remember the rest of the name is. Either way, the Xayah is what I'll go with because the name was cut off. Definitely a threat to them, but this is the top turret, and they've been kind of left exposed at the moment. There's 4 up there. They should get the turret down maybe before they can get close, and teleport's going to come in. That's going to stop them. That's going to be Gnomo going aggressive, looking on the Wukong, trying to put the pressure down. Yeah,
Hanuari is going to be actually not too far away, so could try and just serve a little bit of poking, making sure they can't get too close. Nice CC connected onto Veos. Not going to go the full distance, at least for now. As Hegman, once again, if you can go for the fight, I'll take it. A-Man Legend into the bottom side, taking a mini one-on-one versus Emperor Duck, but is not going to go the full distance to take it relatively slow, as they know a Baron threatening position could be happening later on down the line, so they need to make sure that they survive as a 5-man crew, because otherwise that is opening a world of opportunity for the winning team.
I was just a little fearful for Gragas. Oh, and this is what we were talking about. The Grand Challenge can come down in here as well. But he's caught under the tower. Will get the kill, but it's going to be a traded straight 1-for-1. You can see he's got the power. But I got to be honest, A-Man Legend's going to be happy about that, coming out on top with a draw of a kill. The Wukong's going to be the focused target. You can see he's already low, and he's going to get caught in the knock-up. That's what they wanted. But it still manages to almost get away with the Cyclone.
This game is so close. There's so much back and forth. It's time to re-engage into the Solar Flare. Once they see Hanuari is going to also be slowed away, that's going to be it. The Lee Sin closes the gap, gets some significant damage onto Hegman, and now is there going to be Balot going to try and move out, jumps out with a Valkyrie 2. Topside did get pushed up severely, actually, by the Gragas Veils, able to get a little bit of extra CS, but man, this game is so close.
Yeah, and I think they just realized it. The Then Dragon's coming up in 5 seconds, but it is risky because the respawns are still short at the moment. They're going to get back down here as quick as you like. But just going back to that fight a moment ago, you saw the damage that Capelot can get down, if allowed. When Hegman goes in, locks up with that Zenith Blade, it works out. There's the Blue Wolf taking the dragon away. So a quick dragon taken, and they will back away from this one. Now, what is LFO going to try and get off the back of this? I think bottom turret.
I think that might be the play actually for them to go for. They could try and use it in that way. We'll see. Trying to look for a few picks into the enemy jungle. I like the deep vision too that they're trying to set up. They haven't got too much just yet, but I think that is something that Emperor Duck is trying to achieve for the rest of his squad. Mid lane though is going to be pushed up right now. It's going to be straight onto the fight and picks up the very first kill of that engage. Now they got man advantage. What do you do with it? We'll have to see. It might be a Baron threaten.
Yeah, you saw them pinging it, saying we want that mid lane. Let's try and force it. But now, with obviously Veos going down, that big Gragas can be a threat. So they're wondering, should we try and bait the Baron? At the moment, LFO considering it. They're thinking, okay, but don't forget that timer. Still only 20 seconds. They can't posture for too long. They want to try and lock up a target as quick as they can, which is going to be very tricky now because they are grouped as a 4.
I think they know Clash would not be that ballsy of a team to go for the Baron with only a 1-man advantage, especially because it's Veos that's not doing a big portion of that damage output. Most of the damage is really coming out from Capelot, and you got to be careful you actually pin him down in those fights, which they're actually struggling to do. He's just moving around. I think there was a fight earlier, D-Man, where he said that he was completely untouched, and that is true. If you do not get rid of Capelot, your fight is going to be pushed to the limit, and you're going to have a real hard time to find closure. As a replay comes out, and we see how they just completely collapse on top of him. I mean, the 4-man setup is huge. It goes to show that the synergy truly is strong for Clash, despite that roster change that I mentioned earlier. It seemed like they are big moments of greatness.
That's a great catch. Capalot, the AD carry has been doing so much damage, completely caught out. That buys them the mid turret. That's all they need. They can rotate and maybe even catch them, because at the moment LFO are thinking, oh, they're going Baron. But they're not. They're going straight for that mid turret.
Oh, no. That's going to be it. Zenith Blade onto the support. Not really who wants Solar Flare. Just completely missed the mark. And now Clash are just looking to take down the players of LFO one by one. They put the focus over onto the Fiora, and Product also will bite the dust. And now they're taking down the towers and might just get an Inhib Tower. And you know that when the Inhib Tower falls, things start to get really dim for the enemy team.
Yeah, and that's going to be a quick Inhib turret in and out. And they can even peel away and try and set something up for a Baron play. But for me, my worth, I think they should maybe just try and fake this out and go buy. Try and spend some of that gold. They've just picked up a chunk of gold, but you know what? They don't care. They're going straight in for that Baron with the jungler down. Why not? They've got plenty of time. The Hegman's going to come in, but there's not a great deal he can do. Maybe try and steal it away with a Solar Flare, but that's a risky. Can the Baron come in enough? No, too early. And that is gone.
That barrel scared me for the longest time. I thought maybe it's down to 300 HP. I think 346 or something like that, but not quite going to happen. So really good attempt and a good fight from Clash all around. There we saw the Solar Flare, unfortunately, completely missing the mark, and Clash really taking the fight. And that's the main issue I'd had with them when they took the fight towards the second Drake. I think it was for the Ocean, where they were damaging all of the players of LFO without actually finding kills. Now they shifted that completely and threw it out of the window. Ooh. Now they've burst them down so quickly. I'm loving it. As they're trying to set up into the bush, got to be careful.
Zenith Blade misses. Hegman needed that, maybe. Well, a bit risky to try and go for the Solar Flare as well as the opener, so right choice, but just, yeah, they were cautious. The Clash were aware of what was happening there, and you can see the gold advantage starting to work very much in their favor. Real big step up here, and of course, Baron buffing all the lanes up the top and bottom turrets under pressure. That's where the focus is now going to be, down that bottom side.
Now looking for Org, trying to spread their forces just a tad, try and make sure they can keep all their towers up and alive. But unfortunately, when you do so, you also stretch yourself very thinly. They can fight opportunities clear for Clash. Solar Flare into the explosive cards. That's a big CC. Ooh. Instantly finds himself one kill actually onto Gnomo. The rest of Clash are going to be leaving, but that's a good setup. Yeah.
Look at this, the inhibitor turret on the bottom lane is going down, so they've got one kill to lose an inhib turret. Not worth, in my opinion. Can they try and get more from this one? There's going to be the Zenith Blade. They will get the lockup, they will get the kill, but they're losing the Nexus. The finish is coming out here, and that is game, ladies and gentlemen. They're looking for kills, while Clash are looking for game.
Wow, I am so impressed, and I keep saying it. Normally, having a team-wide adjustment on how you play the game from a game-to-game basis is so hard. Changing how you play the game inside of one game is out of my imagination. It's just so well played. They struggled in the first fights, and they understood this is not working. We need to do a drastic change of how we execute these fights. It worked out amazingly well. I love to see Clash just shift their playstyle right away. And now we're looking at this one. It's 1-0 for Clash. They take another one, and as LFO, a team that I said could be an underdog, already out of the event. So that would be a big team already lost, going to show how high the level of competition truly is in Group A.
Absolutely. Let's look at some of the highlights from that game, because it started off so well for LFO, but it quickly curtailed. You know, we were talking about how Capalot wasn't being focused. Well, Clash realized that mid-game, and that is the sign of a good team, you know, that they can adjust mid-game, change their focus. This fight here, Capalot just doing free damage, and that was the big problem, and you thought at the time Clash were in trouble.
I really got to say, the unsung hero of this game was going to be, of course, you're looking at the Rakan. I think that he was just doing an absolutely fantastic job this time around. So I'm looking at more from the noob. He was going straight into the heroes, into the Grand Entrance, into also a quickness. You're going to pit layoff CC on top of one another, and you set up your team really well. This is still the moment where Clash was struggling to really get that synergy down. They were doing their own thing. For example, here you have Fontaine is going to be Fallen, sorry, that's going to be a little bit too far out of reach while his team is focusing another target. And they completely scrapped that at the end of the game, and it worked out amazingly well. So once again, I think that change of pacing is just what Clash needed, and it did result in them taking the first game of the series. While those explosive casts were still clean from Veos, but at the end it was not enough.
And if you look at that, obviously the pressure at the time, LFO was starting to pile it on, but Clash then just quickly turned it around. This was the big turning point here. The gold card catching Capalot off guard. Capalot trying to be avoid as much as he can, but Clash just turned it. And it was what a great game. What a great game to start things off, because that was back and forward. It could have gone either way.
Yeah, I'm really surprised actually, because normally when you have the Origin series happening is what we saw last month, right? Where a lot of teams would just be almost weeded out at the very start. You'll have a lot of 2-0 stomp series. Maybe sometimes you'll have a 2-1 happening and it pushed to a game 3. But the game of this caliber, where this early on in the event, is very surprising, and I'm just loving every single second of it. So I fully agree, G-Man. This is just a great series, and I'm really hoping this is pushed to a game 3 because I don't want this game to stop. This is great Wild Rift that we're seeing here.
Absolutely. It was fantastic. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I don't know where they're going to go from here because LFO were in the driving seat. It's going to be very interesting to see how they adjust in the bans there because by all rights, I felt they had the team comp, but you know, they just didn't get executed. I think of Capalot getting caught out just on the edge of Baron Pit. That was a big kill for me because that sort of curtailed it for Clash at the time. LFO were kind of in charge, large and in charge in that one, but that was the turning point for me. I mean, it wasn't so much, well, it kind of was Capalot's fault. He was out of position at the end of the day, you know, just sailing through the bushes straight over a ward, and that's what got him caught off guard. But this is a best of 3, which means we have a second game. Let's get into it. If you just joined us, this is game 2, getting ready to go. Looking for Org versus Clash Spain. 2+4, Treyas, Veos, Capalot, or Capiot. It is Capalot in game, I'm pretty sure. Hegman up against, for Clash Spain, Aman, Legend, Fowler, Nomo, Hanori, and the Noob. Great performance. Clash now leading 1-0, Max. Let's see how this one is going to play out. Where are you seeing this going? Bacon Bounds, I mean, it was pretty wild matchup. Are we going to see a more controlled match this time around?
I think the draft actually is not going to change all that much. I think the champions are really strong. Maybe you'll have some champions going from one team to another. I think the ban's also pretty much set in stone, so I don't think they're going to change. I think it's mainly down to playstyle, where some teams are overcommitting and definitely overstepping their welcome. We saw that happen to Clash, which is what created a team for a lead early on for looking for Org. And it happened the other way too, where sometimes looking for Org would just go a little bit too fast, spread themselves a little bit too thinly, and Clash were able to capitalize on those opportunities given to them. So I'm not really expecting a change of draft, but I think playstyle is what we might see change a little bit hitting game 2.
Yeah, I am a little worried for LFO. They had a pretty close game with Game Lord in game 1, judging by what I saw in terms of the scores. And then game 2 just absolutely got slapped. So I do worry in terms of mental capacity, how the team can go forward. Obviously, when you're pulling together, looking for an org, trying to get together as a team, you know, maybe stability not quite there yet because they've got a couple of new players, etc. But let's get into the pick and bans here. Twisted Fate obviously was a big part of Clash's execution there, so no surprise that being taken away. In terms of bans, pretty standard so far from what we're seeing in Wild Rift, and Lucian being the first pick.
Yep, Lucian being the first pick. I'm not surprised. We did see it. I believe it was banned onto the first game, so we're going to see it this time left open. It's going to be the first pick for LFO. And Clash going back for it. I said I thought the unsung hero of that game was really the Noob. Those grand entrances into the quickness on just, even if it's just one target, you get the kill, you set it up for your team, and then you create a 5v4 literally out of nowhere. Just snap your fingers, boom, 5v4, easy peasy lemon squeezy. They keep that ball rolling. I think things are going to be completely fine. And when you pair up Rakan with a Xayah, it is one of the best duo lane matchups into the Dragon lane. So I have no issue with that whatsoever. But now, that engaged potential of LFO with the Gragas and the Leona, now that is something to be very, very aware about.
Yeah, I mean, they've taken it away from... I tell a lie, no, they had it last time around.
Had it last game,
same setup. And yes, it worked out to start with, but I got to be honest, they're giving Clash kind of everything they want here. I'm a little concerned. They've got that Xayah Rakan start, which was a big part of Clash's execution there. We'll see how the Ahri will synergize into this. There's a Varus coming in with the Lucian. Okay, and a Pantheon. All right, it's all in, pile in, boys.
Okay, I think Pantheon is actually a really good pickup here. You got an ability where you can just negate incoming damage instantly. If you put yourself on the front line, you can soak up, for example, the ball from Ahri and also that charm. So I like it. I also love Singed.
What?
Whoa.
Okay.
Aman Legend on Singed. Okay, that's an intriguing one. You got to keep in mind that Singed, it was popular for some time. Not a huge pick rate. But the execution and how to play is super hard. If you want a good Singed, it's all about how you roam late game. Because Singed, when it falls behind, it's done.
It's also about being very passive early game. Let's get the game on your screens. I'm interested to see how this one will play out.
Singed. Okay. We'll see how that's going to be working out. That's a surprise for sure, but a welcome one. every single time. No skin, though. Disappointing, Aman Legend, but that's okay. I'm sure you'll invest if you take yourself a win. As all these teams going to be moving forward. I believe maybe a little bit of deep vision early on from LFO, but once again, so far, we are in the lower bracket, which means if LFO lose this, they're out. They're done.
So, in the June finals, Singed was played twice, and it was Clash Spain that played it twice in there. So, 50% win rate, so 1-1. So, we'll see how well it goes for him. But yeah, very interesting. Okay, so it's not something new. He's done it before. He did it in the monthly finals last time out. Aman Legend. I mean, Singed can be such a troll when he gets going, but you've got to get him going. And up against the Gragas, that's going to be tricky.
I mean, he's literally toxic, right? It's just literally how his kit works.
Literally toxic.
Literally toxic. So it can be a little bit of a bother. And especially the potential of being able to just take a champion and yeet him behind your shoulder. It's good to set up for your team, especially when the engage potential from Capelot and Hegman is there. It could be big, though. Hegman, you've got to be careful. A little bit overzealous, a little bit adventurous. Take a severe beating to the hands of Hanuari. But not going to be going any further just yet. But you got to be careful. This is not an easy matchup. Rakan and Zaya, it will bully you early game if you're not cautious.
Yeah, going to be very interesting to see how it plays out, of course. We know all about this. That's a great chance to catch, by the way, onto Veils there. Nomo just showing a bit of flexing early on. Very different champion to be playing, obviously. Played the Twisted Fate before. Will possibly spot the roam there. Yeah, absolutely will spot the roam there. They're actually coming up. That's going to be pressure on the crab, so that's going to take away the vision that I don't think Fallon's going to be too happy about.
I love this rotation actually coming out from LFO. They're getting themselves the top scuttle. They're going to give it over to Tyrus, and it already is trying to roam towards the bottom jungle scuttle, so they're going to have double scuttle control, which means the vision game is already on point for looking for Org. If they can get it, though, he's got a little bit initiated. The noob tried to leash it away for a second as they jump over the wall looking for Fallen. Now they're focusing on to Gnomo. Going to have to try and flash away the noob onto the front line. They got the collapse absolutely from Hanuaru, and he's going to be putting them solo, trying to flash his way forward, trying to collide those feathers on top of it. But Hegman is there to back the team up. No first blood. It was damn close.
Oh, they ain't done yet. They're still kind of a little back and forward. Finally, the Scuttle Crab says, waves the white flags. I'm done, boys. Don't fight over me. They all will back away. And as you say, very close to first blood, but nobody getting it. But while it's still happening, this is great. So what I mean by that is keeping this jungler busy as they are is buying time for Aman Legend and Singed to get past his really weak point, which is the early game.
Yeah, just to let him hopefully scale into the game properly. That's what they're going to be hoping for. And versus Gragas, you know Gragas is going to win that matchup early on. So you just let it unchecked. Make sure they're going to be standing in the tower. Just get your farm underway. Start to get a little bit tanky. Or if you want to go AP, go AP. I don't know what he's going to build. I haven't seen a Singed in so long, man. We'll see what he decides to go towards. But you want to make sure that he starts to get some big item power spikes. But unfortunately, it doesn't really work for you. That's the main issue, I would say, D-Man, because the game starts getting into team fights really quickly in Wild Rift. Not something that really helps this type of champion to really take a good opening opportunity right out the gate.
I mean, like, what's his primary function here? A, getting in the way, blocking the damage, keeping the focus away from him. Well, that charm just little miss there. That's going to cost Nomo some damage. But obviously, he's got the flip. Now, who's going to flip? Who's he going for? Is it a flip to keep away? Which I've got to assume it is. He's going to be keeping Hegman away, keeping the possibly the Pantheon. The Pantheon jumps in. Get out of here. Just flip him out of there. Like, what's his primary function going to be when it comes to the team fights?
I mean, I would say his function would be to get access to the Lucian, but Lucian's got such good mobility with that pursuit. You're not going to be able to pin him down that easily. And if you want that to happen, you're going to need a very similar engagement from what we saw last game, where you have the grand entrance into a quickness from the noob. That will be literally one of the only situations I can think of. This is not an easy game where you're going to get super easy access to the backline. Maybe Capelot is one of the champions you'll get onto, but he has his ultimate. He has the Chain of Corruption, and he's just going to pop it onto you the moment he knows he's threatened. So even then, it could work out, but it's going to be really, really hard to pull it off properly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. Capelot probably 100% going to be the focus. The Varus doesn't have that free escape. Here we go. Okay, jungler on jungler, and it does look like they want to go for this one. The charm! Oh, the kick away completely did the charm, but he still may go down. And the jungler going down is huge, obviously, with the dragon being right there. Clash will turn onto the dragon now. There's nothing they can do. Don't have a smite to try and steal us away.
This could look like more like a game of ping pong, I gotta say. Tara's just getting pushed away with the Dragon Rage. There's put on back and over the shoulder by Aman Legend. Interesting prospect, but at the end, I gotta tell you, that is a first blood over to Clash, plus also the first Drake. They are starting to scale properly with also 1,000 gold lead in their favor, as Aman Legend can be able to put
That's
right over.
1, 2, 3, 4, or 4 turret hits onto Emperor Duck there. But Amen Legend, it's just not enough heals in the world.
Yep, not enough, unfortunately. Tried to be a little bit more toxic, but seemed like Veos is not going to deal with that. No BM for Veos. As they're moving out, Goalie has said it's starting to increase a little bit. The Herald is going to spawn very, very soon. So the lane swap could be happening in just a few seconds' time, but Tyro's going to go for the gank.
Yeah, it's going to come in, but that's going to be dangerous now. He's going to be caught away. There's nothing he can do about that one, so Hegman will go down. Gifted, really, that one. Not too sure. Obviously, got to be expecting Fallon to be nearby. Had no ward coverage, of course. And speaking of ward coverage, there's little to none at the moment.
Yeah, really good roam from Noma in general. Really like how he's paying attention to the map and his surroundings. Emperor Duck trying to move away. Maybe the body slam will be there to try and keep him up and alive. But he's going to be dragon raged up. And Emperor Duck might be able to make it alive into the Zenith Blade, but no, there you go, puts him right over his shoulder, and it actually works out for Aman Legend. We do see Tyros pop the ulti, try and join the party relatively late, and that'll allow enough time for Clash to actually make it back to the safety of their tower.
Yeah, Tyro's just a little too late to the party there, and we're starting to see a really nice combo forming, aren't we, between Aman Legend and Foul, and that flip into the kick. You can suddenly pull, you know, whoever it is you focus on well away from the party. This was so close, you know, catching him out here with the flip, and a lot of turret hits.
Yeah, really good also onto the ultimate. Does get a lot of damage down. One more basic attack is all he really needed. The explosive cast really worked out fine, but that's the charm of the tower. Tyra's trying to get it to... Oh, no, that was a replay.
Yeah, that's the replay. I'm looking at what's going on with the Rift Herald at the moment. The Rift Herald's going to get taken away here, or is it? The focus is all over the place because there's fights happening 2 places across the map. The stun comes in once again with the Zenith Blade. Nuke will back away. Rift Herald, in the end, is picked up, and it was an interesting trade, so a very close one there. 4-1, so they're going to give up the top turret for this one.
And intrigued to see where it's going to be actually used onto that Herald, though. Lane trades, they're going to be trying to get himself a few towers under control. There's some extra gold going away of Clash, but in similar fashion, mid lane got heavily hindered, but Noma able to hold on to it, and that's huge. As long as you keep it alive, that's exactly what Clash want to try and achieve. So Noma's going to be definitely doing how see what is expected to do. Now going to be able to check out that fight again with a Herald, and it was going relatively low. I think Fallen was trying to contest it away with the smite. Nice body slam, able to buy a lot of precious time. He gets straight to the Herald, snatches it away from the grasp of all of LFO, and now is Clash taking another great fight and starting to build a rather sizable lead.
Really good body block as well. Fallon was taken very low there, but a good body block to stop the Cullen, finishing him off. So really well, good teamwork from Clash Spain at the moment. This is working well for them. 4-1 up in terms of kills, but look at the gold advantage. It is starting to snowball out of control a little bit here for LFO. They've got to be careful. They've got to realize they're down. Sure, all they see is the kill count, but they are 5k behind right now. That is pretty big this early on.
It's also so scary when you're seeing Fallen being 3-0 on this Lee Sin, got himself his Yumu's Blade, and also going to go for the Black Cleaver. So he's going to start being a really massive threat to LFO, and you just do not want to deal with him. He's going to be zooming all over the place. And I think that this is slowly but surely slipping out of the grasp of LFO. I do not think this is a game where you can really get back into it, because their team is not a huge comeback team, right? It is not a team that's going to be like, oh, I hit late game, I got a big power spike because I got a Kaiser, such and such. They're going to be purely trying to play around their synergy of their wombo combos. Body slam, explosive cast, solar flare into the chain of corruption. That could work out. But when you're talking of late game scaling, I do think Clash might have the better of it.
Oh, the Rakan goes in. That is the ballsy play. The solar flare comes down. It tries to lock them up, but it's not going to quite be enough. Look at Nomo. In, out. You can't get him down. Slippery son of a bitch that he is. Tyrus comes through. Will finally get the kill, but no! Gets picked off instead, and a 3-for-1 in the end. Eggman just about gets away.
Well, scare me a bit there. Herald instantly popped. I mean, you got the Dragon. You're going to get yourself potentially mid lane tower if the noob pushes it, which I think he is. 3 players are out. Why would you? You'd be foolish to not take that opportunity. They're taking everything. They got top push, they got mid push, they got dragon push. It's in the bag. I have to say, it's in the bag. Clash, there's no way you lose this game unless you're one of the biggest throw I've seen in a while.
And you got to remember, this is down in the lower bracket as well. Clash Spain and LFO looking for fighting for the tournament lives right now to see if they can continue on in the lower bracket, the round of 8 at the moment. But wasn't engaging the end. The noob cost him his life, I think. No, he gets away as well.
Yeah, he just made it out, able to just barely walk away from that fight. There was a Grand Starfall from the Pantheon. Tara's eyes on the prize onto Noma. I really like his play, but at the end, you are taking a 2v4. You know it's not going to work out for you, mate. So now all the objectives being taken. 9 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, a gold lead. They're slowly but surely approaching the 10,000 lead. 10,000 lead is so hard to come back from.
But look at the lead where it's on. Look at the 2 junglers. Look at the 2 AD carries. That is enormous. It's a 3,000 gold advantage for the Lee Sin over the Pantheon. The Pantheon, not a lot he can do in these fights. Now, when the Pantheon falls behind, you're kind of useless in a team fight then.
Yep, it is not going to be helping out at all. And also his 2 Drakes is going to make it a little bit harder. The Infernal Drake is there to follow up too, so if they get it, it's just a way for them to put the nail in the coffin, seal the fate of LFO, and find close to this one as they pushed him out of the entire Origin series. Hegman, don't face check it, instantly into the charm, into the grand entrance, and there's nothing can do. Chain of Corruption able to get some decent CC and peel away for both Tyrus and also for the Capilot himself, so able to somewhat make it work out, but way too deep here. Hey, man, what are you doing, mate? Trying to be a little bit toxic there, get some extra tick damage, trying to put some players over his shoulders, but now with the Baron up, I mean, Clash, I think they're just going to threaten it and force the fight to come to them.
Absolutely. I mean, that fight was just extending out. The Noah was just like, all right, my charm's off cooldown any second now. So if you do come looking for this, I'm going to charm you down there. Then here comes the Troll. Aemon Legend, the Troll going in there, just distracting. They put the damage down on him. Oh, the Noob's going to get away very low at the moment. They're going to try and focus on him. Noah around the side there, but Tyrus tries to come in. But as I mentioned, doesn't have a great deal of damage. But this is a good fight coming out for LFO. They can try and turn on the Baron, but they haven't dealt with Fowlin yet. That's dangerous with the jungler alive.
Wait, Hegman didn't even use the Solar Flare? What? It seemed like it. That was such a dominant fight. Actually, for looking for Org, really surprised. I especially enjoyed Tyrus there. That was a really good use of the Grand Starfall right in the middle of the lane. I believe he hit 3 to 4 targets with that. So actually, that's some extra damage joining the mix. We'll have to check out on this replay to get themselves the body slam. But that's the thing. That is what is so good about Pantheon. You're at Amanda's advantage. Pop the global ultimate, and boom, you're already into the fight. And Tyrus definitely turned the tides of that fight in the favor of his team. And then just got himself poke after poke after poke. Really good execution. But will it be enough to put himself back into the lead? Seems maybe not, as Capilot gets picked away.
Yeah, Hegman was taken down early in the bush, so he'd only just come back from the respawn, which is why I didn't get that solar flare down early on. But really good explosive cask, actually, to separate them, and so they could focus on the carries within that fight. A little bit of a replay here. So this is going to be Capilot on the side here. Really good chain of corruption. But Duck, I don't think he has quite enough damage to finish him off. He does in the end. So he will take him down. So Fowlin picked off, but oh no, in comes the noob.
Yeah. That was a grand entrance with a quickness once more. The typical wombo combo we can expect from this player from Clash Spain. No, Dragon are going to be up very soon. What's the game plan? You can see Clash how they position around the map. They want to take control of the Northern River. They want to be able to remain in that position and make sure that they control that terrain, control the vision, and if they want to try and force the fight to come their way, they are actually the team leading the march and deciding and controlling what really happens in the grand scheme of that. Now things are slowing down a little bit. The gold lead was reduced a tad. We were getting close to the 10,000. Now it's just about 5K, so able to be half the way. Great plays from LFO all around, but it's still going to require a lot more than just one fight, right? Yeah,
keep your eye on the map there. So 15 seconds to go on Dragon. Both top laner, Aemon Legend, and it was Hanamaru also went back. So they both went back, made sure they got their items bought out. And now with the Dragon alive, they're going to be full 5-man, fully geared up, fully ready to go. With that gold advantage, that 5k gold advantage is going to turn into items. A big solar flare could turn the game. But I got to be honest, this is really risky now for LFO. This is do or die.
The damage of Capilot is very underwhelming. He does barely anything. It is but a scratch. He's just tickling them by now. Very surprising, actually. The ultimate is the big game-changing ability that he's trying to play around as much as possible. The tower still not falling down. That's something that LFO, I'm sure, striding to try and achieve is just on a slither of HP. There's a big wave top 2. Clash, if they win the next fight, they could push top and really get some extra gold built against the entirety of LFO.
No, they wanted to commit for a Dragon when Baron is certainly an option if they were to lose the fight. So it's simply a case of trying to look for a pick. Explosive barrel. Do you use it to try and find that pick? Do you try and get it with the Zenith Blade? They're really grouped up heavily because they have nothing to fear about being clumped up other than, obviously, the Rakan coming in with the quickness there. But other than that, they don't really have too much to fear. So this is just going to simply poison. It is the fight to stay in the tournament for LFO.
Yeah, you can feel the buff there onto the Quill on the range. He's able to get those heals continuously and just remain so healthy. I mean, he's full HP, but still he's able to get some decent pokes. 19 HP on that tower, I just realized. Damn, he just blown it, and he's going to be taken down huff and puff, and we'll see where it goes.
They're going to push mid turret. They're just going to push mid turret. They're out of position.
They can't fight them.
They can't cut across. They cannot cut across, and they may give up their turret if they're not careful, which obviously leaves the position. Look, Singe is going to top, so they're just going to try and force it down. As you mentioned, 19 hit points left on that top turret. There's the charm landing. Emperor Duck losing half his hit points by a single flash of a charge. Look at Singe. He's just waiting off at the side. They're looking for the kick. They try and find it. They get it down there. Straight to the charm comes in. That's going to be enough to lock him down. In comes the Singe round on the side there. Will knock them down. Heckman going to be the focus target. Tyrus is also taken very low. It is a 1-for-1 trade so far. Still very much in Clash's favor.
Yeah, trying to go for the Grand Entrance once again. We'll be able to jump away, but it's an extra 2 kills picked up. The double whammy, actually, for Hanuari. And they're going to put the focus right into the Infernal Drake. But there you go, G-Man. That is how you use a Singe. You flank, you be annoying as hell to make sure you can just push LFO and control their position to your whim and to your heart's desire. Going straight for the Infernal Drake. They pick it up. You got to be careful. They're a little bit of an overstep from Veos. You do not want to get collapsed upon. But now they're going to try and go straight for the Baron. As once again, the CC engage is huge, and they just pick them up one by one. The Grand Starfall a little bit late from Tyrus, and then he's the one taking the full-on wrath of Clash at the end. Try and get himself the Blade Caller, get some extra lay off CC to maybe find closure to that fight. The extra tower dive, boom, picks up one, goes for the double. I mean, Clash are looking unstoppable here. And
if you didn't quite notice it there, Fowlen using the kick to get Hegman away. Not to look for that kill. Oh, I'm going to get an AD carry. No. He used it defensively, which is very unusual for Lee Sin. Obviously, you're always looking for that highlight reel play, but he went, no, I'm going to keep this Leona away from the fight. There's nothing he can do here. He's completely caught out. Tyrus actually kicked in, and as we were talking about how low he is in terms of gold, but how far behind he is. This is going to be the finishing play here. Clash, nothing they can do about this one. You can see Emperor Duck going to get taken down. The last man standing. They are just rolling on through.
That's
simply
GG.
Caught out of position. That indeed will be GG. Not a man lost. It's an ace. It's the game.
That's the game, that's the series, and that's the day. We're going to be done with day one here for the Origin series, and it's taken by none other than Clash themselves, a team that has been all over the place as of recent months. But you know what? It seems like they've been able to improve so much in recent times and able to actually take themselves a series versus a team that's really stacked, I said, D-Man. And I think I cursed them a little bit, said they could be the underdog team. I'm sorry, guys, I did curse you a little bit, but man, Clash, they surprised me. I was not expecting huge things, but they have definitely improved a lot in recent months.
I mean, both games are still very close, though. No doubt about it. LFO were looking in control in the first game until it slipped away from them. Until the AD carry got caught out, that's when things started to go away. But game two looked far more controlled for Clash there. They definitely looked a lot better team overall. And in terms of comps, they were in control. It was just slowly but surely slipping away from the game. And it was only a matter of time before that big team fight that was poised to happen. It was Iron Legend's flank that worked out in the end there. And also the kick from the Lee Sin. Just get that solar flare away from my team and give the players the damage. And it was just brilliant stuff. And Max?
Yes?
We don't have an interview just yet. It's coming in a minute.
Okay, I was ready to jump into it, but back on what you said about the Lee Sin especially, that is why Lee Sin is so strong, and I think that Lee Sin is a pick or ban kind of champion. If you're dealing with someone that knows how to play it, that Dragon's Rage every time is going to put someone so far out of position, unless you have a flash and I don't know if you're Malphite and use an unstoppable force to reposition, then maybe. Otherwise, it's out of the realm of possibilities. Lee Sin is too strong of a champion. They keep nerfing all the other junglers. I don't know why. But Lee Sin just continuously stands on top of the mountain of the junglers so far. And as I said, if you play it properly, it is a champion that can literally set your team up for success alone.
Yeah, I mean, let's look back at that game because they had so much happening throughout it, so many highlight reel moments. You got to think of the fights early on. Obviously, looking back, this is from the first game of the day. If you just joined us, by the way, this was Crow Crowd up against the Istanbul team, obviously the Wildcats on the side there. So fantastic performance from them. Some interesting team fights. This went badly wrong for Crow Crowd, this fight.
Yeah, that was the one big mistake, and then it just set up Sim Bunny for success. He just kept bullying and taking barely any damage in those fights, and just could even allow himself to tower dive from time to time. And that's what really caused Crow Crowd to lose themselves their game at the very end. So really good stuff at the end that we saw coming out. I think that we had some really good expectations that we set for some of these teams. And I think that, especially, for example, Clash did subvert my expectations coming into this. So I'm surprised to see that teams that maybe struggled before have improved drastically from month to month. And we said it, this is still Wild Rift Esports in its infancy. And what you're seeing right now, this is just the start. Teams that are playing and improving in a month, imagine how good they'll be in a year or 2 years' time.
Absolutely. Early game players could be very different to what would happen in a month, 2 months, 3 months down the line, because the game progresses, the meta changes, the patches come through. Some teams benefit, some teams struggle, but it's all about the teams that can withstand throughout. And this game here, obviously the first game was a very interesting one for us. That was in obviously Group B. This was over in Group C. Sunlight, the finalists of June, putting on a very strong performance. Expect to see them in or around the finals for Group C once again.
Yeah, I was loving how Mads was playing that one. I talked about it right at the end of that series, and I was so impressed with how Mads was playing, especially on that Corki onto the first game of the series. It was out of this world, and it set up the team so well. I think that's definitely something worth mentioning, that Sunlight is coming into Group C as a favorite with the likes of Cut, and I would love to see a similar final here. I would love to see a Sunlight versus Cut matchup later on, as now we're going to be slowly but surely entering the replays, I believe, of the last game. We're going to see a few happen eventually, but it's been great. I would not have had it any other way here, D-Man. A absolutely fantastic day one, a beautiful day one here for the Origin Series, for the finals in July. And we've got another one next month too. So, man, we've got so much action happening in Wild Rift Esports that I'm loving it, and I'm here for the long run.
Absolutely. It's a solid performance from some of the teams. I know a lot of guys that are out in the chat and be like, oh, why are you not just covering this? I want to see this team, I want to see this team.
Too many.
Honestly, well, there's too many, and B, you don't want to see 2-0 whitewashes. You don't. Yes, I guess everybody wants to see Tribe, the winners of Group A before, but the fact is they 2-0'd both games today, and they were very quick games, so they wouldn't have been entertaining to watch. Sure, you might have enjoyed seeing your favorite players performing we got to give everybody coverage, and it's great to see because we've had some fantastic Wild Rift action today.
Exactly. We'll see, of course, and the more matches actually happen, the better the teams are going to get, and that means also that the later matches, hitting day 3, day 4, those matches are going to be from a completely different kind of caliber from what we've been able to see today. And even saying that, today's matches have been completely insane, so I have very, very high expectations for day 3, day 4 as to how things are actually going to be unfolding. That was the play that came out from Capelot. I really liked his plays around the Valkyrie from time to time. The reposition game was strong, but then also we had this first matchup of the day, the first series, and those delivery services onto the shockwave of the Orianna is key. I'm hoping to see a lot more of those kind of play styles throughout the next 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely. We had some really interesting team fights. The fact that we just finished with a Singed, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
We just finished with a Singed. It was brilliant. That's great to see. Obviously, Clash Spain in the first game, very close. Look at the score, 17-14 there in this highlight right now. That's how close this game was. In terms of gold, yes, it was starting to snowball away with Clash in the end when they got the Baron, etc. But definitely a close game that could have gone either way. This, a really nice little combo, by the way, with the Lee Sin and the Singe combined. Just showing the control they had. And in the end, obviously, it was simply magnificent games. It does mean, of course, we have plenty more action tomorrow. But we're not done yet, Max. We're not done yet, Max.
Still 3 more days.
Oh, absolutely. We have 3 more days, but that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Not
what I meant is, what I meant was, I'm a legend who just played Singed as the only person to have played Singed in June, and now in July is here an interview. That's what we get for you, Max. That's what you get, just for you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Hey, I want an interview with the Singe man himself. Hey, man, legend. Already, congratulations on your very first game. How are you feeling after that one?
Thank you very much. Well, we feel very good with the team. We won, so we have to go ahead and keep winning in the bracket.
So let's talk about your brackets. Obviously, you competed throughout the June brackets. What have you done in between June and July now to try and step up and improve as a team?
Well, we trained so much. I think we level up in the scrims, so we do a lot of scrims more. And yeah, I think in the last month we had our bad day, so we're here to show our level.
Yeah. I think you guys did definitely just that today in that matchup versus LFO. That was absolutely amazing way to close it off. But I mean, we had a Singed, right? And I think we have to talk about that just a little bit, man. Mm-hmm. I wanted to know, going into Singed on that second game, was that like you feeling comfortable, like we won a game 2, let's have a little more fun? Or is that actually something that, as you said, in the scrims you've been training, did you train it a bit? Or what was the plan with the Singed?
We train it. I think Singed is a very underrated champ. So yeah, I think it works. And it worked.
It did? Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. You got For the Win tomorrow, the Italian team coming in. Anything you know about these guys, or what are you expecting?
Two, sorry.
You're playing For the Win tomorrow, it seems, judging by the bracket. Do you know much about these guys?
I think they are good players, but I think how we are playing, we can win them very comfortable.
Okay. Hey, there you go. I like seeing a positive mindset coming into it. And also, I want to ask you, Safar, because you're in Group A, and I think that we can all say that Group A is the most competitive group of this entire Origin series. Which other teams you're looking at here as, okay, these are going to be your rivals or team you might have a hard time to take down, that you know these are going to be big matchups?
Well, I think Triv has a good level, so if we fight versus them, I think it would be a hard match, but it would be a good match to watch.
Wait, Tribe.
Tribe, sorry.
Okay, yeah. I was like, is there a team called Tribe then?
yeah, sorry.
You're good.
Absolutely fantastic stuff. Thank you very much for joining SA, man. You've been brilliant. It was great for us. It surprised us. We were like, wait, singed? It's great to see something different being brought to the meta. As you say, a strong champion. You proved it as well. Good luck tomorrow and in the rest of the tournament.
Okay, thank you very much.
So, Max, that is it. Done for today. What a fantastic games we've had. Obviously, this is just day one. We have 3 more days of action to go ahead in the July finals to find out who the winners will be. We had some big upsets throughout June, and it looks like July is going to offer just as much action.
Yeah, I think I couldn't have it any other way. I think that this has started even better than last season. I said there were some teams clash. I was like, oh, this team has been a little bit all over the place, and look at them now. They've turned a completely new leaf, and I'm hoping to see more things coming up on this team. He said no, Tribe could be a team that's a little bit hard to take down. Hey, never know. They could make history here in Wild Rift Esports for the EMEA region and actually take down the top dogs of this entire EMEA region. And we'll have to see. Maybe not even them. Maybe the other teams around, because let's not forget that when you have all these finals at the end of the month, is to qualify for a big event at the end of the year. So they got something to aim towards, and that is why all these teams got the ambition to go to it, because you want to make sure you can play on an even bigger stage than this if you perform well in the Origin series.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of money up for grabs for these teams as well, obviously all performing well. It's great to see. I'm looking at the bracket semi-finals. They're mouth-watering, man, especially for Group A, Tribe versus Game Lord. That's the game that a lot of people were talking about, obviously, last time in June, but Game Lord fell short in that one. But also Singularity versus Queso. Both those semi-finals look magnificent. There's no doubt about it. I'm looking across all the other groups as well. There's so many big teams performing. This is what I love to see. Origin series bringing Wild Rift to obviously the European regions, North Americas. It is in North Americas. We're not covering North Americas right now. North Africa, Middle East, all these regions represented is what we love to see. Teams stepping it up. Obviously, we have big Turkish teams stepping up as well throughout the day that we saw today as well. So fantastic stuff overall. Plenty of action to come. That's what I'm going to say. We will be right back tomorrow. Same time, same place. Join us then for some fantastic matches.